In the name of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Well, that list that Jesus gave us of all of the dreadful things we do, I could spend a whole day talking about all of that, but I'm going to give that one a slide by and found another passage that I thought was just really exciting. The reading that we had from James, there is a phrase within there, that a verse, which I think just can speak to us so clearly. And I want to just share some of my own reflections on this because it's a fairly practical piece of scripture. And my own reflections as a husband, as a father, as a priest, as we look at some of these issues. It's from James 1 verse 19, and he writes this. He says, "You must understand this, my beloved, that everyone be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger." So there are the 3 points right there. Number 1, be quick to listen. Be quick to listen. You know, so often we have it turned the other way around. We are slow to listen and quick to speak. And James is saying, be quick to listen. Hold on to hearing what's being said to us. Hear what is said and not what we think. You know, so frequently, and we see this in politics all the time, people don't care what you're thinking, what you're saying. All they're thinking is about what they're going to say. And we can do that in our own lives so easily. We get into a disagreement with somebody, and we don't care what they're saying. We just want them to know what we're saying, and so they can absorb what we have to say. We don't hear at all what the person is saying. You know, an example that I have is that it can be so helpful sometimes to repeat back what is being said. Because, as I said, we just let it slide by. But if you are in a discussion with somebody and you're struggling to hear each other, do some repeating back of what the other person has said. So, for example, you have a couple and they're deciding about the painting of their room. And one wants it to be blue, and one wants it to be white. And so you get into this conflict. And what needs to take place and what can take place is that the person who wants the room painted blue says, "I want this room painted blue." It says, "Why?" And they say, "Well, because it reminds me of the beautiful skies outside, and I think that we have a blue room." So the other person has to say, "Aha, so you want the room painted blue because it looks like the skies outside, is that right? Well, I want the room painted white because all of the furniture in our house is white and it would just fit in really well." And then the other person has to say, "So you wanted white because of this." And when you do that, you begin to hear what the other person is saying, and you can meet much easily. And so I encourage us, when we have a real difference and we just go like this, do some repeating back of what they have said so we know that we have listened. Be quick to listen. Well, the second step that he makes is this: be slow to speak. And I'm very sure that when he says that, he is not saying we need to speak slowly. But before we go ahead and give our response, absorb what's being said, and then speak more slowly as to what we really think. You know, there's that statement, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. And we need to remember that more. So often we talk as though we've got 2 mouths and 1 ear. Remember, there are 2 ears And one night, I remember there was that event which we used to do as children, and as adults we do that little game where you have a group of people who line up, and then you whisper something to the first person in the line, and then pass it on to everybody else. And then the person at the end says what they heard. And it's usually totally different from what was started out. And the issue that I want to raise, and I believe it's part of the listening, is that issue of rumors, of how things are said and get spread around, and so frequently when we begin to hear them, they don't coincide with the beginning at all. And I want to encourage us as we hear those things, and I know within churches it's the prime space. And I've been in many, many churches, and I promise you this is true in every single church, but in other interactions that we have with people as well. 3 brief things. Firstly, if we know that the person coming to us is telling us something that we know is a rumor, just close it. Don't listen to it. Say, no thank you, and just turn away. But sometimes we don't really have that option, because before we even know it, it's all sitting in front of us. And an option for us at that point is to just close the book. We don't need to go around to another 10 people asking them if they really think that this is real. And in so doing, it just gets spread further and further. If you know that it isn't true or that it's inappropriate, just close it. And the third thing that we can do is to actually get up and go to that person and ask them ourselves, is this really real, that this is what's happening? And they can tell us, and then we know what the truth really is. But we need to let go of some of those rumors. You know, there's that story of a frog who was living up north and wanted to come down south. And he found 2 geese who were going to be down south. So he worked out a little plan, and he said, I'll get some food for you if you'll do me a favor. And they said, what? And he said, when you go down south, I want to wrap my around your legs, and then you can fly down and I'll get carried down. And they said, okay. So they negotiated it and got it all set up, and the frog wrapped his tongue around their legs, and they were flying down. And as they were flying down, someone was looking and saw it and said, wow, those geese are so incredible. They're so wise. Look at what they're doing. And the frog was furious. And he said, that was my idea, and plummeted down to the ground, letting go of his tongue. We need to not have our tongue out like that. Close our tongues. So be quick to listen, be slow to speak. And the third thing that's listed here is be slow to anger. Because James says in that verse, because your anger does not produce God's righteousness. Your anger does not produce God's righteousness. And you know, there are those old phrases that we had many years ago, bite your tongue. You should do that more often. And the other one, which I think is really helpful, is count to 10. You know, we throw that around, but it's actually a very helpful thing to do. If there's something going for you, don't necessarily just blurt it back. Do that counting to 10 before you respond. And the other thing that I think can be quite helpful is that sometimes we are just so burned up with an issue, and we want to just go straight back and shout about it to the other person. Something that we can do, 2 things. One is maybe go to another person first and tell them what we really think, a person that we trust. and to almost get it out there, and then discern how much of it do we really communicate to the other person. And the other thing that we can do is to just do some writing out of it. Just sit down, type whatever you want to do, and just express what we feel in front of ourselves. Then close the book, go to sleep, take a look again tomorrow, and discern how much of that do I really want to say. Maybe I've said everything, and I can just throw it away. I don't need to do anything more. Or maybe I can edit it. And these are the important issues. But we need to be able to be slow with our anger. So there we have it. 3 significant things that we can hold on to just from that little piece of scripture of how we can live our lives faithfully. You must understand this, my beloved, that everyone be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger. Amen. Amen.